Okay, we're going to do multiplying fractions. Review. This is for fractions only, not mixed fractions or mixed numbers, but for fractions only. So where the numerator and the denominator, or the numerator is smaller than the denominator, okay? So one thing, if we have 1/4 times 1/3, you guys all know by now that 1 times 1 equals 1 and 4 times 3 equals 12. You got your answer, okay? So let's look here. If I have a box and I have break it into fourths and I color in 1/4, okay? I colored in 1/4, 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4. This represents my 1/4, and then thirds. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to color in 1/3. So now I'm going to look what overlaps. I have one box, that's 1/3. I have one box that overlaps. So that means that what I'm going to be getting is 1 out of the 12. Now remember, if we have 1/4, say this equals 1/4, and I want 1/3 of that. So I'm going to break that into thirds. And this is what I want right here. That's what I'm going to get. This is 1/4. But we don't see the rest because maybe it got eaten or it's already gone. So yes, you're going to get one slice, but of the whole, here's another fourth, another fourth, and another fourth. There's only 1/4 left. Here are the other fourths that maybe got eaten, and of the whole, that's why we continue all the way over. Okay? And we look at what overlapped. It is 1/3 of what we had. Okay? So we know that. If we have, say, 3 times 2/3, what this is saying is 1, 2, 3. That's my total amount. And I want 2/3 of each. Well, first of all, I'm going to color in all of it because I have all of the 3. I have all of the 3, but now I only want 2/3 of it. 2/3 of each. And when we look at what's overlapping, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6, and they're all broken into thirds. And if I simplify that out, 3, let's see, I could do this here, 3 into 6 equals 2. So this becomes 2. Okay, when I simplified it. Okay, so what this is saying is if you had $3, you sold, say you sold t-shirts. You sold 3 t-shirts. Or you sold some t-shirts, and I said, okay, you sold t-shirts, and because you sold t-shirts and because I'm the designer or whatever, I'm going to get 2/3 of your profit. So that means I get $2 and you only get $1, okay? Because 2/3 of 3 equals 2, okay? Another thing we talked about are looking at the value. If I have 1/2 times 1/2, my answer, because this is less than 1 and this is less than 1, then that means my answer will be less than both of these, okay? My answer 1/2 times 1/2. I'm asking for half of a half. So that's asking for something that is smaller than that. Okay? So I know if I'm doing, say, 1/4, say, times 1/5. I know my answer is going to be smaller than both of these factors because this is smaller than 1, this is smaller than 1, so my answer will be smaller than 1. The answer to here is 1/20th. The answer to here is 1/4. And 1/4 is smaller than 1/2 and 1/2. And 1/20th is smaller than 1/4 and 1/5. Now say I have 4/3 times 1/2. Because 4/3 is greater than 1 and 1/2 is less than 1, that means my answer should be between this value and this value. If we multiply it out, and that becomes divide by 2, divide by 2, that equals 2/3. That means 2/3 is greater than 1/2, but it's less than 4/3. So because this is greater than 1 and this is less than 1, my answer is going to be between those two. If I have, say, 4 and 1/2 times 3 and 1/2, I know my answer is going to be greater than both of these factors because this is greater than 1 and this is greater than 1, so my answer is going to be greater than here. Now, could you solve these problems out and get an answer? Absolutely, you can. But this really wants you to think about logically, what is a reasonable answer, okay? Logically, every single time we multiply, does our answer always get bigger? No, because if you do 1/2 times 1/2, 1/4 is smaller. So really what we're figuring out, this is really working on logic and thinking about how a portion of a portion or a percentage, okay? Another thing we're going to start working on is we're going to start working on multiplying mixed numbers by mixed numbers. It is super important that you remember what we're doing is we are taking a fraction of something else. So, say I have 2/4 times 2/4 times, say, 1/5. Okay, say you made some money and you had to pay 2/4 to the bank and you got to keep the other 2/4, okay? But because you were selling on my property, for example, I get 1/5 of it. So that means 2/4 goes to the bank, okay? Then 2/4 goes to you, but of that, I get 1/5, okay? So really what we're doing, here you get 2 times 1 equals 2, and then that's 20, that equals 1/10. So really, 2/4 goes to the bank, then you have 2/4, but of the 2/4 you have, I get 2/20, which is really 1/10. So for every dollar you make, I'm going to get a dime. So you're still making 90 cents more than I am, okay? So really, really working on fractions. At the end of the day, can you do 4 times 2/3? And we know that that's going to be over 1. A whole number can always be over 1. We get 8, 3. At the end of the day, can we multiply straight across? Yes. If it is a whole number, or if it is a fraction, yes. At the end of the day, you can multiply straight across. But when we start doing mixed numbers, You cannot just multiply straight across with a mixed number, and I'm going to show you why you can't. But it is super important that you know here in this problem, what we're asking for 2/3 of the 4. So if you have 4, say you have $4, okay, so we have all of these. I have all $4. But say I have a big car lot and you want to sell a car for yourself. So I'm going to say, hey, that's fine. You can sell a car on my property, but because it's on my property, I'm going to need 2/3 of what you make. Okay, so say you sold your car for $4. Now we understand that's probably like a little toy car, whatever, but just for number purposes, we break these into 2/3 or into thirds. And I color in 2/3. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8, and they're broken into thirds. So when I simplify that, if I do 3 into 8, I get 2. Remainder 2. So I get 2 and 2/3. So really, if I said, hey, you make $4, but I get 2/3 of every dollar you sell, really, you probably should not you probably should not sell a car from my lot, because really, you're only making out with 1/3, and I'm getting 2/3, and all I'm doing is letting your car sit on my property. So fractions, multiplying a fraction times a fraction is taking a fraction of something else, okay? So come back with questions. Let me know. I strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you. I understand you know how to multiply straight across. That's fine. But on the EOG and some tests you have, it may be that they are asking you it may be on the EOG that they show you this picture and they say, what is the answer? And you're going to have to know how to pull the data from here, or how to pull the information, or how to read this. Then you don't even have to do the math. You could say, oh, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, my numerator is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh. The answer is 6/15. If they ask what is the equation, though, you're going to have to know that they have 3/5. There's 3 colored in out of a total of 5 this way, and then they colored in 2 of the 3 horizontally. So you're going to have to know how to pull information from that. So it's super important. While you may not use this method to solve all your problems, it is super important that you know how to read this chart right here to gather the information from it and then solve the problem your best fit. Okay? Come back with questions.